Hey guys, welcome to Chino's Arsenal. My name is Jessica and I'm your host, and you can follow me on Twitter at It's Chesino. So this is going to be a live match preview for our game versus Burnley that starts in just over an hour. I'm sure the lineup will be coming out in about 10 minutes, so we can go ahead and have a meltdown together, or just, maybe be excited about the lineup. Who knows? Maybe we'll like it. But I know I was supposed to do this yesterday, but my day got away from me. And I was like, well, how can I do this? Like, I want to make sure that I do it anyway. And I was like, oh, I could just do it in the morning before. Well, it's morning for me now. In the morning before the game, and just make it a little preview. So yeah, go ahead and get in the chat box and let me know what you guys think about the game. What is going to be your score line? Win, lose, draw? Are you nervous? Are you excited? All those great and wonderful things. There's about 40 of you guys in various places watching this. Make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. And I'm going to go ahead and bring in Souls, who came last minute. Isn't it nice to have friends that are like really available? I love it. Souls! It's so last minute. I'm sorry.
I mean, I'm just sat in front of a TV today watching all the football, so there's not a lot going on Saturday.
Yeah. Where's your mic?
Is here?
Now say something.
Is it playing up?
You sound like you're far away. Like you're millions of miles away. What's going on? Let's see. Matt G says, hey, Jess, I'm nervous but excited. Come on, you Gunners. Exactly. Jasper says, morning. Yes, it's morning. It's about 6 a.m. Yeah.
Settings. It's fixed. It's fixed.
Yeah. Okay, good. Perfect. So, yeah, it's super early. And, yeah, what do you guys think the scoreline is going to be? What are you looking forward to? The lineup will come out in just a couple of minutes, so we can go over that when it happens. But, Souls, how do you feel about today's game? Are you confident? Like this whole week, you've sounded pretty confident. Are you still feeling good about it?
100%. Arteta's come out and basically confirmed that Ramsdale will be starting this game. And for me, that's the move we needed to do. And that for me alone is why I'm confident, not necessarily because I think the performances have been up to scratch. Ramsdale, just for some reason, he just allows us to do what we needed to do in terms of just building up from the back, giving us that composure. And look, the thing is, they only got the draw last season because we made a mistake. And as long as we can cut that out, then I don't really see them beating us. They're not going to get a goal against us. Gabriel's back, White's back, and Tomiyasu. You've got four physical defenders, and then Ramsdale, who's good in the air in terms of claiming crosses. So I'm not really nervous. I'm just not sure what the scoreline will be. My predictions kind of always I've stuck to is 2-0. I don't think they score against us.
You know what? I hear that. And when I think about the last couple of times that we played them, we've obviously given them the game twice. But there was also some really bad refereeing. Some of the clips of the handball from the Pepe cross last shot last time. Just get those memories come roaring back. We started off like a house on fire. I remember Aubameyang scored a really nice goal to the near post. We were in control. We lost it a little bit. Thomas and Xhaka kind of lost control of that game a little bit. There was a mistake at the back between Leno and Granit. And then we put a lot of pressure on towards the end of the game. We didn't get the handball call. And then there was another like weird mix-up where there was kind of like a handball when Pepe shot it again. So, and there were opportunities for us to come back into the game. So I guess my biggest thing is making sure that if we have early spells of possession and pressure, we have to put away this team. We have to score 2 goals at the very least and then keep it tight. I think, after last week, did you see the tackle? I forget what Everton player it was, but one of their players came like sliding in, 2-foot kind of tackle, out of control. And the referee not only didn't call it, it didn't get a card, and it wasn't even deemed a foul. And
wasn't it a Burnley player that did that?
It was a Burnley player that did that on an Everton player. It was on Richarlison. And so do you worry about being at Turf Moor and maybe them not calling the game the way that they would normally do? Because it feels like Burnley get this pass because they're these hard men, kind of thing. They play hard and they're just old school defenders. Are you afraid that our players are going to get tackled hard?
Oh no, that's just the Premier League. I think obviously Burnley are more likely to do that than anyone else, but in the Premier League you kind of have to toughen up, otherwise the league ain't right for you. And that's just the way I think of it. And when it comes to Burnley, I think we've played them enough to understand the physicality they're going to bring. I'm sure Arteta's prepared for that. And when you look at, obviously, we'll find out in a few minutes. Obviously, a lineup will be coming out whether Partey is going to be fit enough to play. I think we don't give enough credit to these players in terms of being physical. Like Saka doesn't roll over cry, nor does Emil Smith Rowe, nor does Odegaard. Pepe to a degree doesn't do that. So I'm quite okay with them going with the physical back, especially when you look at the reinforcements we've made at the back in terms of Tomiyasu, Gabriel, Kieran Tierney, and even to a degree, I don't think Ben White shies away from a battle either. So we have reinforcing those areas. It's just Granit Xhaka is a double-edged sword. As much as I love him for a game like this, he's also a liability for a game like this. The tough gets going, he does get a red card, but his physicality is good, and that's the annoying thing because I just want him to be calmer, but his physicality is still to be there. But then Arsenal have always had this thing of where we can't do that sort of stuff because we'll just end up getting penalised for it, whereas with a lot of other clubs don't. And that's down to a reputation thing. That could be down to conspiracy theories, whatever you want to believe, right? But I do think we get a lot harsher and we don't get warnings like other clubs do. And that's the only thing that goes against us and why we've probably become this team that backs off a lot more than a Burnley, because that should have been a red card in my opinion. I think it was Tarkowski, that did that tackle. Or might have been, I can't remember who it was, but I seen it.
They
That
said it
should
was
have been a red.
Tarkovsky. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I mean, yeah, if that's an Arsenal player, we're definitely getting a red card for
straight red.
that.
That's going to bar 10-time replays, getting a red
Yeah.
card.
Because for them, and it's what is it? It's like it's I forget what it's called, but it's like when you already have a preconceived notion about somebody and it's affecting your ability to make subjective decisions. So or objective decisions. It's like unconscious bias kind of thing, or conscious bias, whatever. But it's like Xhaka makes a tackle like that, it's automatically, he's out of control, he's reckless and all of that, because that's the narrative in the head about him, which a lot of times is true. But for Tarkovsky, it's he's just playing hard, dice ball, it's so annoying, But yeah, I agree with Matt G. Matt G said, I don't know why we're all worried about Ben White's height against Burnley. He's played against Burnley before at Brighton. For me, I'm not really worried about Ben. It's not, I mean, I hear some people saying, well, maybe it's a game for Rob Holding. It's never a game for Rob Holding anymore. You spend 50 million on Ben White, he plays, and you surround him with players that make him better. Gabriel and Tomiyasu make him better. They give him, I guess, that almost like a comfort blanket or a shield when it comes to some of that heading the ball out of the back and all that kind of stuff. And he does defend. I don't know why people are making this thing like he doesn't defend. He does defend. He just defends a little bit differently than Gabriel. He likes to get in early and nip the ball out from midfielders and forwards in the midfield. That's a little bit different. And he's smarter. He doesn't go in. He kind of like waits his time and sweeps. Like, he does defend. I don't know where this little...
Just on the aerial thing, I want to dispel this sort of thing where he can't aerially battle. All the lineups are out, by the way.
Okay, I'm getting it. Keep going.
Yeah, I just want to dispel that because for me, it's timing of his jumps more than the fact he doesn't. Because when you look at a defender, right, he's one of those defenders who can get in front of their attacker or whoever he's defending against. And yeah, I love the lineup, but I won't say it until you get it up.
You can start talking about it. You can start talking about it. I'm just writing it.
Oh my God, he's done it. He's actually done it. He's gone.
What has he done?
He's done a 4-3-3.
Okay, talk. I'm writing.
He's got Ramsdale in goal, Tomiyasu, White, Gabriel, Tierney. I'm guessing Partey as a lone pivot, Odegaard, Smith Rowe as the two advanced playmakers, Saka, Pepe, and Aubameyang.
I mean, that's as offensive as you can get.
Oh my God, I am excited. I am so...
You've been excited before.
No, but this is different. This is different. I'm telling you. Because, right, the reason why I'm excited is because when you look at it, Partey and Odegaard are going to switch positions a lot in this game. Odegaard's going to come deeper because we know that Burnley against the top sides like to sit back. So you can actually risk having more of an attack-minded midfielder coming into that lone six position and actually
Yeah.
playing it with the defenders. And then you can have Partey do his thing and defend up top. Then you've got Saka who can do that. The only two that I'm concerned about not putting their weight in is going to be Pepe and Aubameyang in terms of that pressing ability. But to be fair to Aubameyang, he does sometimes do it, but he just does it in a weird way. But I wonder how, because Burnley are in a predicament now. They can't use that high line that they did against Everton because this will destroy that, and they can't attack us either. They can't do a deep line because Odegaard's there, but then they can't. And if they want to play a high line, then you've got ESR there. So this is exciting.
Yeah, I think I wanted to see the lineup kind of first before I kind of talked about this a little bit. I think that this is fine. It's risky, but at this point, it's kind of like, well, our best our best way to win the game is to attack. Sitting back and being kind of like, let's just hold our shape and all of that, that's not going to work. We have to kind of go at them. My only thing about this is that Thomas is good in a single pivot in certain games, and we've only really seen him be successful in that single pivot when we're chasing the game. From the minute we start, it hopefully it doesn't give me the vibes that it did against Villarreal. I don't know if people remember, but we've played this way with Thomas before as a single pivot. It can't be where he's alone in midfield and there's those huge gaps, which I'm a little bit afraid of. You know, Odegaard, he's a lot faster and sprintier than he was last season because now he's getting back into shape. But can he support Thomas in moments where he's alone in midfield? I don't know.
This is
But
different. This is different though,
go
because
ahead.
now you've actually got an established striker. Whereas with against Villarreal, we didn't even know who it was, whether it was Smith Rowe or whether it would have been Partey. Not Partey, sorry, Pepe. And in this one, because you've got Aubameyang and Pepe, this is different in that lone DM. But also, when you look at it, Arteta's allowing the midfield to be more free in terms of Odegaard drops deep, Partey goes forward. If
Hmm.
Partey drops deep, Odegaard goes forward. And obviously, the only ingredient that we've not really seen enough of is what ESR's role in this specific system will be. But I think he's just going to be told to stay forward and be that drive runner, whereas Odegaard's going to pick the. Because the one thing that we were missing against Norwich and why a lot of our attacks didn't happen was because Odegaard was the one who had to create and Saka had to drop into that number 10 position just to connect it all. Whereas with now, you've got ESR doing that. Saka can maintain his wide position, then you can have Tierney overlapping him anyway. So I think what he's done is he's identified what went wrong with Norwich, knowing that he had to sacrifice a wide player in Saka to come into the middle to connect. Now he's going to give ESR that role, and Saka can stay where he needs to be because ESR can do that. Like for example, the goal that we got in that driving run at a defender to pass it to a Pepe, he's got that final delivery. So I think he has thought about it, and I'm more excited about this because when you start to piece the things together, he's thought about it, and I'm just hoping it comes off because he needs this more than I do. Because I think if he loses, his job's on the line.
Usop's rubber band, thank you so much for your super chat. Usop says so it's more like a 4-1-4-1. I mean, for me with the formations, I don't really think about it like that because my whole thing is what are the profiles of the players that you have out there? Thomas as a lone DM, it's I don't know. It could be kind of like a 4-1-4-1, but all I really see is Thomas lone DM sitting with Odegaard in front of him or next to him, depending on how what phase of play we're in, and ESR doing ESR things. That's what I see. But it's I think it's better almost to look and see where our starting positions are when the game starts. Then you can kind of see what the shape is and how it moves and transforms throughout the game states. But what I know for sure is in some parts of the game, Thomas will be a single pivot. And then maybe at some moments Odegaard will come deep like he did against against Norwich. He did. He came deep a lot and almost looked like a pivot with Thomas, but would go forward. So it seems like a fluid system. It's all fine to me. I think we'll put pressure on Burnley, which is great. We just have to take advantage of that. We really, really do. There were some calls for Lacazette. I don't think this is a Lacazette game. It's a Aubameyang's game until it's not. You know how do you think Aubameyang is going to get a goal today? I mean,
Oh,
he scored in the last game. He looks sharp. Go ahead.
I'll call it a hat trick today. If not
Oh.
a hat trick, we're scoring 3 goals in this game. We are scoring
Oh.
3. Two minimum. 2 minimum, a hat trick incoming.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Aubameyang is not who, like, after last game, and I saw how in it he was, I was like, cool. And with me, it's always about his mentality. If he's on it, he's our best chance of scoring by far. And then you look at somebody like Pepe.
All I'll say is if he smiles, he's cooking. That's all I'll say.
I'm glad that Pepe is playing, and I know that that's going to be like, but you hate Pepe. I don't. But the thing is in the last game, we kind of spoke about, there being kind of 4 positions and 5 players that we need to be able to get on the pitch at the same time. We need Odegaard, Smith Rowe, Saka, Pepe, and Aubameyang. But usually we only have 4 positions. Now that Xhaka is not here, it gives us a good opportunity to drop Odegaard a little bit deeper or put him in a double tens with ESR. And then, so you get your double tens and your Saka coming in between the lines and Pepe with his ability to get into the final third and be a finisher. When we don't have Saka there and we don't have ESR there, he's being tasked to do a lot of the build-up play, which is not what he's good at. So I would expect that the game plan is for Pepe and Aubameyang to run at these defenders.
Yeah, that's the thing. And when you look at it, look at how many players are going to draw other players out of their position because now not only because before you can let's say block the line up the passing lane to an Odegaard and a lot of your creativity is automatically then kind of gone. Now you've got to do it to Odegaard, to ESR, and then to Saka, and then you've got to worry about where is Pepe and where is Aubameyang because even if you then block all 3 of them, then you've got to worry about what is Partey going to do because we know he can do that over the top ball. He can do it on the ground. There's a lot more advanced elite passes that he can make. So there's a lot for Burnley to worry about. They can't just man mark a player out of the game, nor can they be like, all right, let's put our focus on Saka, let's put our focus on Odegaard. No, because you've then got another 2 to 4 players who are a threat as well. And that's what I think he's done. He wants to draw the players out of their positions, get them uncomfortable because Burnley are a team that they'll stick to their position no matter what. But when they then start to realize, crap, ESR's breaking this low block, Odegaard's breaking this low block, they're going to then have to get a midfield to commit to those players, stop those early balls from coming in. Then they can't commit to a high line because they've got Pepe and Aubameyang coming in behind them. And then even if they do, then you've got Odegaard, who's very good at breaking these low blocks. We've seen it last season. That pass, for example, to Martinelli when he got his goal from the left-hand side where he delivered, I think it was against Leeds, I believe, where they were kind of in their shape. And then he made that pass to Martinelli, and Martinelli's got his first Premier League goal of the season. And that's what's going to end up happening. There's so many different dynamics to how we can attack with this team. And, I give credit to George because he's the only one who was patient enough to not have this little mini breakdown that I definitely had.
I
But
didn't have any breakdowns. I have no idea what you're talking about.
yeah, we didn't have it, but yeah. But yeah, no, I think he's because the thing is, right, the difference I'm seeing this season, even though the performances haven't been good, he's thinking about these games a lot more carefully, and that could be down to he doesn't have that midweek game, so he knows he's got 5 to 7 days to rest a player, depending on obviously what day we play on the week. Obviously, this week we had a full 7 days. We played on Saturday. Now we're playing on Saturday again, and I know a lot of people's concerns are is this too attacking? But remember how we defend. We always pull into a 3. Now, Tomiyasu, not only is he a good right back, but he's an elite level centre back as well. With the height of 6'2", he can tackle. He's got a very good recovery pace, but he's also a physical defender. Now, he's going to tuck in, turning into a 3 back. Then what you have is either Partey or Odegaard being the deeper of the 2 anyway. And so you've essentially created a 3-1, and then it just depends on how the shape kind of evolves from there. But it'll be like a 3-2-5 in a way as well. So there's different ways that this team can attack with keeping their defensive solidity. The one thing they don't have is pacing behind. Dwight McNeil's probably their only player, and then Maxwell Cornet, for example, depending on whether he starts or comes off the bench. I've not seen their lineup, but they're
Yeah,
the only thing that I
Tomiyasu's on the
worry
side with Dwight McNeil, which is important,
about.
since he's their main threat in terms of midfield and progressing the ball and getting crosses in and stuff like that. And Tomiyasu will shut him down. See, the thing about it, you guys, is that I know that it may seem really, really attacking, but also with the way that Tomiyasu plays, you're not going to see him bombing up. With our five offensive players, which you can guarantee is that they will be going forward, but I don't think Tomiyasu will. And that's really important. He may push up into the midfield and stand next to Thomas and add that little bit of stability in midfield as well. So when you have somebody like that versus a Hector Bellerin, you don't have to really worry about getting exposed. Our biggest issue is going to be making sure that, and this is, I think, somebody that kind of has to have a good game just to kind of, I don't know, I think Tierney has to have a good game. And he usually is okay. I think he's been off it this season. And that's hard for me to say because usually I'm like very backing him 100%. And I do back him. I just think that he looks a little off. And the thing that I don't want to see Tierney do is what he's been doing this entire beginning of season and allowing people to put the cross in. If we allow them space in the wide areas and they're just crossing balls in, we're going to get scored on, And if I was Burnley, I would be attacking on that right-hand side, which is our left-hand side, if I'm them. That's where I'd put the crosses in because Tierney doesn't get tight. He doesn't get tight. I don't think Tomiyasu is going to allow you to cut in and cross balls in. He's going to make you go to the byline. So Tierney is going to have to be on his game today because I have a feeling that they're going to try to attack him,
No, 100%. And I think when you look at it, it's probably the easiest way for Burnley to go around this game. And I think that's why Arteta, rather than doing Pepe on the sort of Pepe on the left wing, where attackingly he's been a bit more unpredictable in terms of how he plays. Arteta's having to do it tactically where he's now playing Saka on the left to double up because we do know that Saka's defensive work rate isn't that bad. He's obviously started off a left back in his Arsenal career. We know he's got that positional awareness and everything. So maybe that's why he's doing it and he's persisting on it or might be persisting on it this season. But it's one of those, I think it will show, but because of the way we defend in terms of Gabriel, I do think he's going to end up playing as like a left back in a way. And then you've got White and Tomiyasu kind of covering the centre. And then obviously whoever that midfielder is in terms of being in that lone pivot at that attacking moment will be the one to help out as well. But that's the only worry I have with Tierney is the fact that on his side, he just seems to be exposed with crosses and too many of them have led to goals. But again, that I do think he'll control that. In a game like this, you'll have opportunities. Like I said, their pace isn't a concern. Whereas with the ones who have causes a lot of trouble are the ones who have a bit of pace to get in behind, making it harder for Tierney to recover or for Saka to recover or for anyone really to recover. I don't see anyone on their right-hand side that can do that to us, so I'm not too worried about it in this game.
So here's my question, Souls, is on Twitter, everybody is trying to figure out what this formation is, but I think a more interesting question is, have we maybe misprofiled Odegaard a little bit? I know that in the summer, we were like, he's a dead-on 10, but he's not playing as a number 10 for us right now. He's playing as a number 8, and there have been times where people have been like, well, maybe he could be an 8, maybe not. Do you see his role changing a little bit at Arsenal? Maybe he is that 8 that can sit next to Thomas Partey, or maybe when we do go to a 4-3-3, he is an actual 8 and he's not really a 10, a nailed on 10 like we said. Maybe he has more to his game than we thought. I mean, his pressing was good in the last game, and personally I feel like if Arteta can get Xhaka into good positions not to be exposed in midfield, why can't he do that with Odegaard? I think one of Odegaard's maybe what he lacks is physicality, but so does Awar. Awar lacks physicality, but we would have put him in the 8 position. So why can't Odegaard do that on the right-hand side? Have we misprofiled him a little bit, and maybe he could play as an 8? What do you think about that?
I've always said this isn't the complete Odegaard that we've seen, and I said I think people are being too harsh on him because they've only seen him for half a season. You know, there's a lot of people who get a lot more leeway than just half a season to express themselves. I'm not saying the entire fan base wrote him off and said, "Nah, we've already seen what he can do." I've always said, like, you know, he's one of the most talented midfielders in world football at the moment in terms of being that young, being an under 23 player. He's exciting, and there is a lot more to his game. Even when you look at him at the Real Madrid academy, for example, they played him in a double pivot. They played him as a number 10. They also played him at right wing as well. Even when you look at Sociedad, for example, he played at the right wing, played in that played in a more of a cam role or an advanced playmaker role. But a number 10 can transition into a number 8. It just depends on what you want that number 8 to do. Um, the players that I look at and say, no, they're a sole number 10 are players like Bruno, where there isn't that. They don't have the passing range in terms of short and long and that creativity to be able to drive the ball. And that's what I do think Odegaard has to offer. He's got a good over the top ball, but he also does have an elite level on the floor, in behind, to your feet kind of passing as well. And what we've seen in the last game, he can come deep and dictate games. He can control games on his own. That's one thing. And that's what you need a number 8 to do. And I've always said, look, you know, when people say I don't see him as an 8, yeah, you don't see it because you've not seen him do it. More than when you look at what he can do, it's a training thing. Look, he's 22. He needs games to expose himself to that position in the Premier League. He's a very press resistant player. The only concern I have is how left foot reliant he is, and that's the only thing that people may be concerned to why we don't want to see him in a midfield in a deeper role. Wow, do you know what? Brentford, for going a man down, have controlled this game, you know. They nearly
What's
scored again.
happening?
Yeah, they've nearly scored again.
Oh, I'm not, it's like I'm not even, I'm so thinking about us that I couldn't care less. Like, I
Okay.
forgot that there are other games
No, they
going
just
on
hit
right
the
now.
bar. I was like, oh my god,
Oh,
to
yeah.
go back down, that's
Who
like
are they playing? The Wolves?
Wolves. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But
Mm,
yeah, no, I think what will happen is with Odegaard, as he grows with confidence, you'll start to see more of his game. And I've said, I know for a fact I've said it on this channel, we've not seen the Odegaard yet. We've seen a part of him, and we've seen a small. Don't forget, he came in, played about 3 to 4 games, got a bit of a knock on international break. Then he
yeah.
was in and out of the team. So that does, and since then he hasn't really shown us the first 4 games. But once he starts getting consistent level of games with the full fitness that he has, you'll see him add goals to his game. You'll see him create more. Because even when you look at him against Norwich, yes, there were a few passes, but that for me comes down to because these guys haven't played together for a long, long time. They're not going to telepathically know each other's runs. But once that happens and that cohesion gets built up, you'll start to see more passes being, or the riskier passes being made, because he will know Aubameyang's in those positions. He'll know where Pepe is. And that's what a number 10 needs to do. Once they're comfortable with their surroundings, you'll just see natural passes being made and ticked off. And I'm confident he'll only grow. He can play an 8, in my opinion. Double pivot, I'm not too sure because I just don't think his defensive work rate is that good. He's a good attacking presser, but I
Hmm.
don't know whether it comes to the defensive side when the physicality is against him, whether he can do it. He might need to hit the gym before I'll give him that. But yeah, no,
A
as a
lot of
big,
our players, I feel like,
yeah,
need to hit the gym a little bit. I'm looking at Lakanga, Odegaard,
they need to be sent
ESR.
to Bayern Munich.
Yeah, they definitely need to get some of that Bayern Munich,
I don't know
whatever
what
they're
they're
doing
doing.
over there.
I don't know.
Lord Gunnar says, why is it a problem he's left foot dependent? Why don't we say that about right footed players? I think because when you look at left foot dependent players, they're very, very left footed. Like it never touches their right foot. Um, Unless like the only player that I've really seen like that's not really like that is Bakayo. It can kind of touch his right foot, but even when he first started playing on the right hand side, he suffered a little bit when he tried to use his right. So I just feel like when you're left footed like Xhaka, you don't look at him the same as Thomas Partey, do you? Thomas Partey is right footed, but he can pass with his left, and it doesn't look weird when he does. Xhaka always has to get it on his left. And it's not really an issue. You just can't have a bunch of them in the same area trying to get it onto their left. When Pepe and Odegaard are on that same side, I just see two players constantly trying to get it onto the left. And what that does is it makes you so predictable. It makes you very, very predictable. Everybody knows just shut down the left hand side and they're going to be a little bit weaker. So I don't think it's like a huge issue. I just think it's something that you have to watch out for. I don't know if you guys noticed, but we have a lot of left footed players on our team.
No, no, do you know what it is? It's not. Yeah, you're right. For me, it's just if they're even remotely comfortable with their weaker foot, then it's fine. I just don't. I hate players who are just too dependent on one foot. Even if that's a
Hmm.
right-footed player, it's just unfortunate at the moment. We just have too many. The reason why I keep saying left-footed is because that's just what we have. We don't really have a lot of right-footed players, and Saka's comfortable or seems comfortable on both. Tierney doesn't make it a problem for me. Like you can never tell what foot he actually is because he gets into those angles to make those crosses. Pepe, for example, you can see he barely does anything with his right. Odegaard is the same. Um,
Yeah,
Xhaka forces
Jaka.
it onto his left. That's my issue with him. It's not like he'll try it with his right. No, he just forces everything, and that's why a lot of his mistakes get made because they're gonna be like, look, he's gonna put whatever he does is going on his left foot, so just prevent that from happening, and you've got him.
Mr. Austin says, "Am I surprised?" Asked if I'm surprised that Leno has been dropped again. No. Um, there was a lot of pushback, a lot of people that were like, well, why would he be dropped for the Norwich game? And I'm like, because we spent 25 million on our eventual number one goalkeeper, and Leno is not committed. He's not committed by contract. Contractually, he's not really committed. I mean, he's on his way out. So for me, I don't think anybody can say definitively with chest that Leno is leaps and bounds better than Ramsdale. I think it's inconclusive. And if Ramsdale is 23 and Leno is 28 and one feels more comfortable, Ramsdale feels more comfortable playing the way that Arteta wants to play. Leno holds back, and it's a really good point that Paul made on the Arsenal Vision podcast. I couldn't put my finger on it, but he's protecting himself. He's protecting himself from looking bad because we're playing in a style that doesn't suit him or he doesn't want to. So he kind of does it but doesn't commit. Ramsdale is going to commit to this way of play. So not only do you have a goalkeeper who's not committed contractually, meaning he will either run his deal down or leave next summer. He's marginally maybe better than your 23-year-old goalkeeper that you just spent 25 million on. So who's more beneficial to the team at this point? Leno, and I feel like we have a lot of sentimentality at this club where because they did something good for the last 2-3 years, we should give them a pass for a whole year when they're not playing well. I don't really believe that. I think Leno has been off it. He hasn't had a lot of competition. Now he does. And Ramsdale plays the way Arteta wants us to play. Leno holds back, and we know that. So I'm not surprised because we need to be able to play out of the back because fundamentally that's what we do. And I feel more comfortable with Ramsdale back there. Now he can have like the worst game ever, and this could come back to bite me. But I don't think anybody can say with chest at this point that they're infinitely more confident with Leno in their goal versus Ramsdale. And right now we need to go with the goalkeeper that's doing the right things, making the right noises, and Leno is not committed, not to the way of play and not to Arsenal Football Club. That's not saying he's not going to be professional, but he ain't signing no new deal, and he wanted to leave this summer. You know? That's just how I think about it. I go with it's even like Lacazette and Eddie, they'd be my last choices when it comes to playing. I would play Balogun before Nketiah all the time. I would play Aubameyang until he was just completely out of form because I don't believe in playing players that are going to run down their deals or leave anyway, unless they're like super, super good. And you can't really say that any of these players that are uncommitted or maybe on their way out are irreplaceable. I just feel like it's a waste of our time to continue to play Leno.
But also, when you look at his press conference, you'll find out why he's doing what he's doing. He's always said it. I'm not. He's always said it like he's gonna drop players, and he wanted to make that position a number one priority in terms of competitiveness and how much competition there's gonna be for the goalkeepers at Arsenal. And if he sits there and constantly plays Leno after a 5-0, after, by the way, he's not kept a clean sheet. He's made multiple mistakes. Now, when Ramsdale came in, yes, I know he played West Brom and Norwich, and that Leno might have kept a clean sheet. Who knows? But the thing is, when you look at how the defense is and how we've played, don't forget, like this is the first time since 2013 that we've had at least 30 shots on goal in terms of dominating the play, in terms of being the way that we are. And when you look at sort of the things that he's done to help us progress the ball further forward from the back, you're gonna play that way. And the thing is, even when you go back all the way back to when the Martinez saga happened, Arteta came out and said to him, "Look, I can only guarantee you 95% that you're going to be the starting goalkeeper." He said, "I'm never going to give anyone 100% certainty that you're going to be number one." And that's why he left, because he didn't want to compete, and that's why Leno's looking to leave, because we've now brought Ramsdale in, and we were looking to bring a goalkeeper in to compete for that spot. And look at what Ramsdale said as well. He said, "I'm coming there to take that shirt off the back of you," and he's doing that. 2 clean sheets. We've looked comfortable. We've not even looked like we've given an opportunity to the opposition to even get a goal in on us. And today will be a test as well. Let's see how he does against a physical team, and a team that we're going to be physically empowered by, with a lot of crosses. Can he command that? Because if he does that as well, then there's no legitimate reason for Leno to come back, because like crossing wise, he commands that. Playing out the back, he commands that. Clean sheets, if we get one today, which I do think we will, better than Leno already. 3 clean sheets on the bounce. You can't ignore these things.
Yeah, for sure. And I can't see the comment it left already. Sorry. But it was a really good comment that said he's learning from his mistakes. Last season he spent a long time trusting the more senior players and they let him down. So why would he give Leno more opportunities to let him down? For
No, no,
me,
I
what?
disagree with that. I don't think it was a trust thing. I don't think he had a choice. And the reason why I say that is because who was he going to put in there? Runnison. And then even when you look at the senior players, he didn't have his players yet. And you've got to also think about ESR. It was his first season, like his first, like sort of not even a season. He only had half a season really, and he was also injured at the beginning, so he couldn't really bring him in for Willian. And he brought Willian in for the sole purpose of being a creative player in this team. The minute ESR came in, Willian was dropped. Like, it's not a coincidence. I just think now that he's got his players, it's not really him learning. It's just he's gotten what he wanted. He came in and he said to Edu this summer, he goes, "You're bringing me now. Bun that, you ain't doing that. You're getting me Ramsdale. I want Ramsdale. Get me Ramsdale." And now he's got no excuses. I hate the trusting, because
I
what did
think
you?
he I think
What did
he's
you
leaned
bring?
on them quite a bit. I
Well,
do. I think
who else?
he's
Like,
reverted
who
to
else
them
did he
quite a
have?
bit.
Or who else did he have to play them?
He could have played Pepe instead of Willian that entire time.
But he doesn't trust Pepe either, to be fair.
But it's better than playing Willian. Look at what Pepe's
No, no,
doing
but what he
now.
wanted Willian to do was different. Because if he played there, where's the creativity? There's still a creativity issue at that time that he
Yeah,
did
but Willian was also just not
not doing
really
it,
looking
but
like
he
a
got
committed
that.
player. Like, do you know
Yeah.
that you had one player that's on the bench wanting to play for Arsenal, and you have another one, a Chelsea player that we dug up out of the bin, that's playing over him. I would say I get what you're saying, but I do think that he's
No, no, because
relied heavily on some of the senior
once
players
he
for a
got those
long time.
creative players, he dropped them. He didn't even play them. That's why I'm saying I don't think he's learned. I just think that was always the plan. And when you look at the profile of why William was brought in, then you start to realize actually you brought him as a creative player. Yes, it turned out to be he didn't look committed. He didn't really buy into the idea. But the minute ESR and Odegaard were brought in, we barely got a sniff of William. And then obviously in games we started to realize actually we're not getting the goals that we need. So he brought in Pepe to get that. So Odegaard and ESR are your creative players, so Willian goes out. You don't need him, because then you've got Saka as well. So you've got your two kind of creative players. Then you've got Pepe Aubameyang, which is what we started to see a lot more of as the season came to an end, is you've got your two creative and your two goal threats, and then you no longer seen the likes of Willian coming in. But then also you got to understand Shaka had to play because we didn't really have anything better. Party was constantly getting injured, so he didn't have a choice but to play Willian. Now he's got obviously Odegaard committed. He's got Lakonga come in. He's got Tomiyasu, Ben White, who can also play in the midfield. So I think now that he's got somewhat of his squad here, you'll start to see um, more
I
given,
I, I think
more than
he's
it's a trust.
learning to drop people quicker when they're not doing the business.
But
I
what would he have
believe
done with Leno though?
that.
Like, and Willian, there was no one to drop him for because we didn't have that profile he wanted in that system. But now he
But
does.
back, but last you be real. Like, he's been very slow to bed people in. He's kept people in a lot longer. Like, this is the fastest that I've seen him get people in. Like, don't. A lot of people thought, oh, he'd ease Tommy in. He didn't. He put him straight in. He's put Ramsdale straight in. I think Arteta of 2019-20 gives these players a longer time to bet in, loses some games in the process. Like, I do see him growing. But, you know, hey, it is, you make some really good points that he didn't actually have people to step into those positions that he probably felt comfortable with. So I 100% hear that. But there's about 272 of you guys watching on all platforms. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel. Remember, we will be back for our instant match reaction immediately following the game. I do have to do some fan cams first, so give me like 20 minutes and we'll be ready to go after the game. And let's do some score predictions. You said you think Aubameyang is going to score. Do you think we'll keep a clean sheet though?
100%. I think this is going to be that performance that brings it all together. We've seen the fact that we can produce chances and good chances at that. Call it 20 shots we should have scored in that game, in my opinion, even 10 of them actually against Norwich. So I think that's going to translate over. Now we've got two more creative outlets where they're going to allow Pepe and Aubameyang just to stay forward. I'm going to go with a confident scoreline here, and I'm going to go 3-0.
Woo! That's big. It's really big. You guys, let us know in the chat what you guys think the score is going to be. Who do you think the scores are going to be? Are we going to keep a clean sheet? All of those things. Let's see. SL says Arsenal win. Mr. Austin says 2-1 win. 2-0. Let's see what you guys are saying. Nana GK. I haven't seen you in a long time. Shiki 3-1.
If Oba gets his hat trick, I want credit. Yeah, I want credit for that. I don't even care.
You will get credit if that happens. 100%. Mad G says 2-0. Lord Gunnar says 1-0 clean sheet. Bowie the Cat says 3-1. Pioneer says, after seeing the lineup, I'll go 1-0 to the Arsenal. Let's see. Emmanuel Eze says Arsenal 3-0. These are just a lot of spammers this morning. I don't know what this is all about. Jasper says 3-1. There's a lot of 3-1s in here, honestly. Andy says 3-1. Dublin Gunner says 4-0, yeah. I said it. Nice. A says Barnes would bully White. Who knows? Maybe.
No. We'll get on to match reaction now.
Louis Darko says 2-0 to the Arsenal. Yeah, so a lot of us are pretty confident. I would say I'm a little bit less confident in the fact that we're going to score all these goals because I just think we lack a little bit of cutting edge. So I'm actually going to say 2-1 to Arsenal. I don't feel like they're that big of a threat unless we give them wide spaces and allow them to just lump balls in, and we don't get second balls. Their biggest thing is that they're going to try to go long. One striker is going to go deep. One is going to come short. They're going to knock balls down and then try to get up the pitch that way. They are a little bit better at football than they used to be. They will try to play a little bit, but I ultimately feel like we'll try to control possession. They'll try to press us, win the ball, hit it long, knock it down, get it into wide areas, lump it into the box. And if we don't control wide spaces and we allow them to lump balls in, we're in trouble. Even though I do think we have some good headers of the ball, it's just not something that we want to play around with. So we'll definitely see, what happens. We really need to win this game. Arteta really needs to win this game. I think Elliot said it best that in the position that Arteta is in, we can look like we're healing a wound, but it'll easily open up, with one loss. It's like any wound that it'll start to recover, and it recovers slow, but it reopens very quickly. And so a loss today or even a draw today puts him under so much pressure. And even though we beat Norwich and that was a good feeling, we have to be honest that we didn't really get the goals that we should have. And today, if we have a good spell of pressure, 10 minutes or so, good pressure, creating chances, they have to put those away. They have to put those away because I don't know if we'll be able to keep a clean sheet. But love the lineup, love the confidence, love that he's going for it, because if we don't win this game, then people will be like, why were we so defensive? So he's damned if he does and he damns if he doesn't. Whatever, however you said it. He's damned if he does and he's damned if he doesn't. So, yep. Let's see what you guys are saying before we get out of here. A says any physical striker would get the better of White, needs to hit the gym. Yeah, well, it's not really his game. Like, that's why you have a partnership. I feel like people put too much pressure on individual players and don't look at what they're really, really good at. His
Can I just
game.
say,
No, go ahead, go. Yeah.
he steps in front of his players really well. He's not going to physically battle you, but he's one of those strikers who, not strikers, or one of those defenders who tackles you off the ball, like as in takes the ball with him. He's never going to go in for a sliding tackle or a let's go shoulder to shoulder, but he's smart with the way he defends, and that's why people's concerns about his physicality are there. But he doesn't need to be. The way he defends, and you'll see it today, the way he defends is a lot smarter than people think. That he doesn't get into physical battles. He doesn't ever allow it to get to that point. And what you'll see is he tackles, keeps the ball, and springboards attacks from it. So that's what I want you guys to watch out for today.
Yeah, for sure. It's just so funny because if you buy a big lump, a Zuma type defender, then you're crying about he can't play the ball out of the back. Then you get somebody who can play the ball out of the back, and now he's not a big lump. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, like Virgil van Dijk is a freak of nature. It's very rare that you get a person that could do both, all the things. He's the best center back in the world because of that, and Ben White may not be that, but he can still be elite at what he does best, which is keeping control of the ball and all of that. But again, you guys, we'll be back. Ugh, it's too early. I need another cup of coffee. We'll be back immediately following the game. Just check out Twitter. I'll send out the link there to come back. But if not, just show up right after the game right here on She Knows Arsenal YouTube channel. We'll be doing our winners and losers. There's a new section that we're doing called What Have You Learned and What Has Been Confirmed. We'll also have some of your calls, so if you guys want to come on and have your say, and hopefully we're talking about a win to the Arsenal. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and thank you for bearing with me. I know I was supposed to do this yesterday. Sorry. But love you guys, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.